Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Virtus.Pro and Fnatic here. This is going to be a best-of-3 series. This is starting off with Game 1. This is the grand final for the Daedalus Cup. Surprisingly, not seeing any crits picked up just yet, but maybe this matchup will change it. We'll have to see. Either way, yeah, it's been interesting to see them progress thus far, and yeah, really, both teams have a strong showing of knowing their playstyle and knowing when to make what decisions. So Fnatic, I think, in general, have showed that they can control the map extremely well by being mobile and being active in every single lane. Along with that, Virtus.Pro just having some star players, some really, really good supportive play, some really good ganking, and unorthodox picks from players like TMW. It's really, really just solidified their lineup and set them up so that they can try to take this game away. But interesting draft so far. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the game here. I'm myself and Blaze. Here's Triumph Man. What's up?
Oh man, this is going to be a cracker. Fnatic, they do a lot of weird things. They like to split push. They like to get active early. On the other hand, Virtus.Pro, a CIS team, they love brawling. They love to fight all the time, every time they possibly can. So this is going to be I really think we're going to see a crap load of action, and things are going to get messy. Like, this is hard to predict. It's going to get so messy so fast. There's going to be kills everywhere. I can see it already. This is definitely going to be one crazy match. But Fnatic decided to ban out the Chen fairly early on. And we'll see Virtus.Pro's final ban here before we go into the first picking stage. Of course, Fnatic do have the first pick, last pick. So we'll see what sort of plan they have up their sleeve. I kind of get the feeling Virtus.Pro are just going to sort of... Seems to be the trend that when you're not sure what your opponent's going to do, it's hard to tell where they're going. You just pick up your supports, which sort of can be molded into any kind of setup.
Indeed. I mean, that's definitely a way to start it off, is if you can make sure that you're going to guarantee your trial lane to be very, very effective, then getting the better supports earlier on. But I kind of feel like the pool is so diversified that you can still pick up, if you get one support band out, the Chen, and then you pick up two of your own, it's still leaving a lot in the pool. Speaking of leaving in the pool, the IO did make it through this time around, so Wisp is going to be the hands of Fnatic, but I expected the OD would be something that Virtus.Pro would be looking towards, as well as the Bat Rider, which combined together are just going to be very, very scary to deal with. But of course, Fnatic does get the Wisp CK out of the deal.
I freaking hate OD. This hero is such a huge pain in the butt. And that said, though, Virtus.Pro, I mean, it's a hero that fights early, so this really fits Virtus.Pro's style. If they need to have a late game hero, they've got it. If they want to fight early, they've got it. They can just brawl like crazy non-stop. Batrider, though, also picked up. In this case, probably jungle or offlane, just because you really want to give OD that solo mid if possible. And the fact that he just crushes it. I will be interested to see, because this is something we haven't really been seeing used against Virtus.Pro, or rather not so much Virtus.Pro, against OD, is try and dual mid it. See how that works out. I don't know. We haven't really seen anybody attempt it, but you know what? Maybe Fnatic are crazy enough to try. Something like a Counter. I mean, if they get off to a good early, if they can get up to the level, like get their level 2s, they could potentially stun the crap out of Outworld Devourer. And I think drill him down, because Astral Imprisont's irritating in a 1v1 situation. Against multiple opponents, not as much. Mirana also being banned out, interestingly enough.
Yeah. Kind of
sure
surprising.
About that one.
Well, the one thing is it stacks up Chaos Bolt on top of the arrow. It can be up to 4 seconds. That's an amazing period of time to set up a solid arrow, and we have seen it be a little bit unorthodox with Era picking it up. Of course, Era is probably going to be running the CK, but it's just something that they've picked up today, and possibly in their recent matches that they don't want to have to deal with in this specific scenario. And yeah, it definitely sets them up in their own right, but we'll have to see how everything plays out. A couple of interesting interactions is OD, if he goes for a prison on an IO that's trying to relocate out, it actually will prevent that from happening. So that's it doesn't work the other way around, but it does if he is trying to leave that location rather than being rubber banded back. You can prevent it with a banish there. But yeah, along with that, the Lifestealer being one of the better, safer carries to deal with CKIO gank train is essentially you just rage and TP whenever you have the relocate coming up on top of you, and there's not really much that those two individually can do. Now you can of course add in other heroes like Bane, and if they're in the right place at the right time, they can definitely steal the deal. But for right now, I think Virtus.Pro is pretty confident about dealing with the early ganks and then transitioning into very powerful team fights when they force the issue with Batrider and his lasso, and then make sure that Chaos Knight can't stun, Bane can't Fiend's Grip, all these things with the Silencer ultimate. So really, when they initiate on their terms, they have the damage through OD and Lifestealer, and they have the team fight through Silencer. I really think it's going to work out extremely effectively as long as they get an early blink on Bat.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the dual mid IO Chaos Knight. It's probably not going to happen, not with the Bane pickup as well. It would have been interesting to see, though, because IO being technically a strength hero wouldn't lose anything on his harass. He could just, sort of trade hits with OD fairly happily, because even if he's getting imprisoned, he's not losing damage on that. But that said, with the Bane pickup, that feels like a tri-lane to me, more than anything else, and they'll just sit Bane with Chaos Knight. IO, I think they'll try and give IO most of the pulling and farming in the jungle, because he does need levels. IO does need a bit of farm, bit of levels to really be effective. That said, the Silencer is definitely... It's a spanner in the works, like you mentioned. Just having that global stance kind of helps counter that global teleport, so we'll see if they can work something out with that, if not. But right now, the late game, definitely in Virtus.Pro's hands. That said, both the heroes work fairly well early on. I mean, you've got Lifesteal, you've got Outworld. They can definitely do a ton of damage in the early mid-game as well. So Fnatic, what are they going to pick? I mean, right now, they're trying to, they're going for their tried and true. They like their sort of their mobility and they're being able to control the whole map. I don't really know if they can afford to do it in this case because they can't really let this game stagnate out all that much, and they don't have a lot of good push yet. And this also begs the question, what are they sending mid against OD?
Yeah.
What are they going to try and put there? Because they've picked up what's probably a tri-lane, so now they're looking for the off-lane, they're looking for the solo mid, and I think this has stumped them. I mean, they've burned through the reserve time like crazy, down to 15 seconds almost, and there we go. Bounty Hunters, that'll be tricks in the off-lane more than likely. So what's mid? What can they possibly send mid?
It's a difficult position to be in. I mean, that we have seen in some situations IO and CK mid together, but like you said, it's more likely that No Tail and Era will just take that down to the bottom lane alongside Fly on the Bane, and then they can run Trixie and the Bounty Hunter off lane and still be trying to figure out what that mid is going to be. I actually think Kunkka wouldn't have even been great against OD just because he relies on his Torrent quite a bit, but I guess if you max out that Tidebringer, you could actually put out a lot of harassment damage.
Few times. I mean, it's a smart ban from Virtus.Pro.
Yeah.
A few times we have seen Kunkka go mid and sort of do okay. Obviously doesn't kill OD, but at the same time can farm. He can get his farm, get a bit of harassing, keep OD sort of, the 75% health mark, and just make him vulnerable to ganks. And if he comes to it, he can get off one torrent, usually speaking. He'll have enough mana for one single torrent, which if you've got somebody like Bane coming in, or IO or Chaos Knight, they can potentially set up a kill. That said, the ban was smart. So, I mean, that was potentially an obvious choice for them to go with, but I really don't know what Fnatic can throw on this solo. I don't think they want a Lone Druid.
No.
We're mentioning Lone Druid potential, but I don't think they can afford to because it won't have the team fight available. You'll have Batrider, you'll have OD, you'll have Lifesteal. I think that'll be too... And then an Enigma, I think that'd be too much pressure in the early game, and it would, especially with Enigma, it's got decent push now.
Yeah, I don't know.
With the Eidolons.
It's like, there's literally no hero that fits the build of great team fighter that can hold his own against OD in lane and is not completely gibbed by Silencer. It's just like there's not such a thing. I mean, like, Warlock is a great pickup, but Silencer and OD will completely destroy him even if you can team fight extremely well. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, in this kind of position, there are so many things you want, and you're kind of scrambling because, honestly, Virtus.Pro have drafted up against Fnatic's lineup extremely effectively. So I'm glad I don't have to be in Fly's seat right now, because this hot seat is really where they have to come up and just pull out something wonderful. Unless we're I don't even know. Like, everything
it's
seems bad, but Tinker is going to be the selection. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess he can try and hang back and spam marching machines. I don't know. I'm honestly not in love with it. Maybe we're going to see safe lane Tinker, Chaos Knight, Iron mid, and then Bane sits in the jungle and pulls and Bounty Hunter suicides. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to mention, OD is practically a pick and a ban to get. Like, you pick him and you'd like almost immediately ban like half a dozen heroes.
Yeah, it's like you're playing Guess Who and you just choose a random thing and you can just take a bunch of heroes off the board as a result.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they've got in mind. I almost want to see just Io and Chaos just go dual mid. Say screw it, just do something really weird, because Tinker mid is not brilliant. Like, the Astral Imprisonment is... Maybe he's... Like, you can't really just sit back and spam rocks. You've got to get in there with a CS. You've got to stop him from CSing. I think if he tries to march machines from distance, might get his own CS, but he's not really going to slow down the OD at all.
Okay, so we are most likely, as we were saying, probably going to see Hani in the mid lane, No Tail, Era take the bottom alongside Fly and have Trixie in the off lane. But if they do want to mix things up so that the mid matchup is more favorable, we could be seeing Hani go elsewhere. But most definitely, we are going to be seeing Illidan pick up that mid role. Where do you find Enigma as a result of this? Currently, he's sitting on 3 clarity, so presumably the jungle?
Yeah, it looks like a jungle. Like, you can't really... I don't think he could really safely do the offlane by himself. I mean, they've already got Batrider. I think if anything, they might just sack the offlane altogether, because if they're expecting the tri-lane down there, there's not a lot you can do. As an like, either way, there's nothing. You're not going to live. I don't care if you're Batrider. I don't care if you're Enigma. You're going to die against that kind of setup. But what is this? 5-man in the Radiant jungle for both teams. This could cause a mess. They can't see each other yet. There we go. It's revealed. They're going to move in. Open Wounds doesn't get the range on it. In fact, yeah, he has got Open Wounds. Doesn't get the range on it, though. We'll back up. And it looks like both teams may just chicken out here. But they're going to throw down an early ward, just to see what's going on over there. I think that might actually block the easy camp too.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, the actually spawn box for the easy camp is really, really, really weird. But the Sentry Ward to the east is actually not going to be able to take it out, so they know it has to be to the west. We'll see if they put it in the right position to take it out.
This is smart, because if you're falling behind in mid, one of the best things to do on the Radiant side, if you're falling behind in mid, is go and clean up the easy camp. And they should be able to find that and say, yeah, there we go, the Massacre. They know it's here somewhere. And they find it eventually. But I mean, yeah, if you're falling behind in mid, it's say a TA, you're getting beaten up by a Batrider or something, or even if you say you go mid as like Darkseid, you just go over here and take the easy camp, stack that, take it. It's a pretty good booster there.
Yep.
But
good persistence on their part, though.
It is mid. It is Era mid. Here we go.
All right.
It's Whispered CK, so they may try and
they're
do
going
this
for the mid pull then. That's what they're trying to do, is break down the trees with the tether and kind of go, I wouldn't say old school, but a few months ago when the leash timers were more reasonable, we actually would very frequently see solo mid CK with Wisp just constantly pulling the jungle. But instead, it's aggressive tri-lane down on bottom, trying to put pressure on Tinker. But really, with March, he actually is able to handle it until they have enough burst and disable to take him out underneath this tower. So in this position, it's interesting. We are going to see that Chaos Knight will unfortunately be neglecting his active abilities. Like, he won't be able to stun up, he won't be able to pull in, because he just won't have any mana. You literally prison him like twice, and suddenly there's absolutely nothing at his disposal. But along with that, doing a little bit of creep jacking here, NS is able to get some Eidolons up and try to steal some neutrals for themselves, but that just gives Era more breathing room on the mid lane.
This is really like, he cannot afford. Illidan can't
going on in. Oh, nice prison from Illidan. Still gets stunned up by the tether. Gonna go for the bolt. It is 2 seconds, 120 damage. That's a lot of right click coming in. That's gonna be first blood. Oh, really, really good movement.
And it was under the tower. And it was like, how often do you see that? How often do we get to call that OD getting first blooded in mid? Absolutely fantastic there.
Yeah, the prison was good from Illidan. It just didn't last long enough, and he immediately was spamming out the rift to go in a second time over.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, did Era get the first blood there? Who did it go to? No, it was split.
Yeah.
The tower, I think, or the creep got the last hit in there. So, that said, though, I think a bottle is coming out for Chaos Knight. I'm not sure. He spent up his gold anyway on something. So we'll see what it is. This is a really messy start off for both teams. Like, for the Dire team, I don't think they really expect this, because we had both Silencer in the jungle as well, and OD also came in there, but they're going to take another run on Illidan. They don't. Oh, they do. They jump in. Wisp orbs as well, doing a ton of damage. I don't think they can dive. Era may have gone too deep. Throws it a Chaos Bolt. 2 seconds. Can they do this? A couple more hits. One more hit. There we go. Throws out an Imprison on himself, and he's going to give away a kill. Potentially, no, gets the kill.
Wow.
And now the illusion's coming in from Bane just to tank the creep for him, but here comes Virtus.Pro.
Free kill.
But they've popped a health potion. He's going to regret this. It's only 1 second, though. Should be able to walk away. He's out of mana. Won't be able to throw in another Reality Rift there. We're going to see a curse thrown in there, but now we've got Nace coming in. The Tinker comes in with rockets. That's another kill. They pick up another kill. KSI now backing off.
Wow.
My God. Chaos Knight, absolutely chaotic. Throwing Virtus.Pro in a complete disarray. They don't know what to do. I mean, it's like throwing blood in the water. You throw blood in the water, and Virtus.Pro go into a frenzy and try and fight like crazy, and suddenly they're giving away 2 kills.
Yeah, I don't think either of us could have saw the beginning of this game coming. This has just been so crazy active and really just worked out so perfectly for Fnatic. The way that played out, I mean, obviously maybe a bit of mistake from the Silencer to cast out the last word. He did a full animation turnaround, and that just he took too much damage that the rockets was enough to finish him off there. But one big thing was the fact that the Wisp got half of that first blood gold. That allowed him to get the bottle early enough. And the bottle, the reason that they had that Chaos Bolt was because the second that No Tail tethered to him, he was just spamming his bottle. Oh, it's not even his, it's Era's bottle. So either way, they got the bottle at the perfect timing, no matter who got the gold. And when the Wisp had it, he tethers to the CK, gives him that 1.5x mana regeneration with the bottle tether, and gave him just enough to get both Rift and Bolt, and that's what set them up for the kill in OD. And miraculously, the Stout Shield blocks enough for him to survive.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have been happy to trade the kill there.
Sure.
And just say, you know what, let Era die, as long as they keep the OD down. OD now sitting on 3 CA. Oh, wow, they jump in yet again. 4 seconds. you know what? You roll the dice and sometimes you get it. And then we go, Whiff's going to take that kill there.
Very, very fortunate.
In fact, he's actually going for maxing out Spirits Fist, and I agree with this because pretty much he's going to try and imprison Error when this happens. So you go for the Spirits, that's a lot of damage on OD.
Yeah.
And look at this Illidan, he's not sure what to do. He's going to port straight back in again.
Yeah.
He's going to throw down the imprisonment. That's 3 or 2 now, it's just worn off. But still, that's a huge pain in the ass for him. And I really appreciate the fact that Bottle is on the Wisp, that just he can give him the mana down the line there.
If he has the max mana available, at least. Right now, he's kind of sitting at 143, one more prison, and he won't even have enough mana to cast his bolt. But either way, it's still... Shutting down OD is very, very rarely done, and never to this extent. Like, he was level 3 until just a moment ago. So they're just in such a great position to really just destroy the early game. And Batrider not doing too hot up top either. Trixie going to go for the Shuriken, but it's not enough to finish him off the last right click, though. TMW goes for a Napalm, and this is the second time they lose a hero. They didn't need to because they turned around. And cast off one more Napalm. It does guarantee the kill on the Bounty Hunter, but they also lost the Batrider as a result.
Well, I mean, the CIS teams, if you're going to bait a team, it's the CIS teams. You throw blood in the water, they go for it. Like, you turn around, they smell a kill, they'll gun for it. Meanwhile, the mid, again, OD taking a lot of damage. The Orbs, again, going to cause a bit of grief for him. And right now, he does have enough mana. He could go for a potential kill. They could indeed, although he's going to pop the health pot there. But there we go, they jump in once again. Dial in the Spirit Orbs again, not going to be enough. The fact he's managed to orb up, or might be able to, there we go, heals him up, manages him up there. Here comes a stun.
No, he doesn't have enough.
Quite have enough, it's too low.
No max mana. Like, he's a 91 mana boy, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's, meanwhile, bottom lane there is going to be a kickoff on the Silencer, a la Trixie, going for a gank train now that he has his track available. So that's really good for them. But they're going to go diving on the mid lane. Spirits, right clicks, it should be enough here. They're going to be able to bring down the OD, and just amazing work being done here.
And you're diving tier 2s. What? Oh, normally that's a huge throw, but in this case it is working so well for them, Blaze.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any answer for it. He's okay on his feet, like 315 MS isn't bad, but as soon as he uses Prison, what else does he have? He doesn't have a natural escape mechanism, and so even this track kill potentially could ruin him. Coming on in, though, they're a little patient. Trixie, wait for it. There's going to be the Janata along with the Tether Stun. They're going to be able to bring him down again, and this is a track kill. Quick pause coming out from No Tail in the midst of this reality rift. This is just like, I don't know. The Eye of Sauron has just appeared in the midst of the engagement, but yeah.
I'm not entirely going to blame this on the OD pick. We've got to keep in mind, this is almost sort of a stars aligning thing for Virtus.Pro. Because, I mean, one of the quickest things they could do to stop this crap from happening is rotate a support to mid. But the thing is, they don't have a support who can do it. Virtus.Pro, their secondary heroes who could possibly support him, Silencer, who doesn't have any kind of defensive spell, like a stun or a slow, and the other one is Enigma, who's stuck in the jungle and is opening items with jungling items, and he not really a hero that you can count on to sit in your lane and babysit you. It's a huge blow for him to have to do that, because he needs his mech, needs his blink, he needs items. So I mean, imagine if they had something like, say, a good support. Imagine if something like Lina was here with an AoE stun, or Nyx or something that they could throw in here to help out Illidan. He would be in such a better position. Sure, he'd lose a few levels, but that wouldn't be a huge issue. That'd be okay, because he just needs to get the money in there, and late game he's going to trounce all over people. So that I think Virtus.Pro, or rather Fnatic, are very fortunate that Virtus.Pro's lineup doesn't have that defensive stunner, or even something like a Shadow Demon would help out so much with the disruptions.
Yeah, that's just I would really like to see some follow-up disables, but unfortunately it's just not on the cards for them. They drafted differently, and now they're paying for it. That last right click going to go to Chaos Knight. That is a track kill going to him, and they just all have so much cash. Actually, I don't usually pull this up, but current gold, looking at it here, the Tinker is halfway to BOTs and just jumping up really, really quickly. Everybody else is getting tons of cash. There's going to be a black hole coming on out. There's no Tether Stun to actually negate it, and Era's taking a lot of hits, but the Magic Sticks from No Tail and from Era both combined together will keep him alive.
That, and I mean, with Tether, his 438 movement speed with brown boots, it's just, you can't run him down. And they don't have the stun to do it as soon as Black Hole wore off. I also should mention that Trixie is so lucky. He missed out on being stuck in that black hole by the hair of his by the hair on his teeth. It was so damn close. Managed to back off just in time. That said, of course, the other deal is the fact that KSI getting pretty much no farm down the bottom lane as well. I mean, this is going to be pretty helpful. The fact that Tinker is really edging him out in that lane. On the other hand, though, things will probably turn around. Like, things will open up a bit more for Virtus.Pro fairly soon, because Batrider in the next 5 or so minutes should have a Blink Dagger online, because he's getting pretty much free farm. Apart from that one hiccup where he got picked off earlier on against Trixie, he's been doing pretty well. He's on 44 and 7. Also, the fact that NS has had pretty much uninterrupted farm as well. He'll be getting his items out. So if they have a Blink Dagger on Bat and the early mech on NS, things will get a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
Because CK's not getting much farm himself. He's spending a lot of time diving.
Yeah, even so, though, like, one thing that's really unfortunate for Virtus.Pro is they don't really have a way they can easily adapt out of the situation and say, okay, this isn't working, let's do this different thing. Because again, just send OD in the off lane, he's not going to be able to survive any better there than he has been in the mid, because Fnatic will rotate themselves. Trixie is actually going to get dusted up and lassoed. That should be a kill. He is sitting with quite a few napalm stacks, and yeah, he will be dropped down, throwing a little bit of damage before he does meet his own demise. But yeah, in this position here, OD doesn't really have anywhere else to go. And so now the Riata Rift Tether Stun, Chaos Bolt, they only need a 2-second stun to make it work for them. Era wants to go even deeper, does get the Magic Stick, almost gets the Reality, but it does get fogged out. Either way, in pursuit, the TP coming in is a Lifestealer on 2/3 HP, but it's enough to force Era No-Tail to head for the hills. Even so, like, in this position, they're not doing too hot in any of their lanes, and you were mentioning KSI CS. He has only gotten 18, and on top of that, he's spent a lot of it on a bottle. Like, he just doesn't have anything going for him right now. Popping off the Rage, going to try to chase down Era, but he's just going to try to turn around on AA, immediately bringing him down, though he does get prisoned, negating some of the stun. Either way, a right-click will come on through, and it's only going to be one last word to actually drop him down. Now, there is going to be the Malphite stun onto No-Tail here, taking a lot of hits, but sending out a 2-second stun to KSI is going to be enough for them to finish it off. Big Flame Break going across, but it's just setting up a Tether stun to go across on everybody. Just a clothesline right on through that bring down the Enigma as well. Now popping off the ultimate, but didn't get the Rift just yet. Pulling on in the Batrider. Perfect pull. Wow, what RNG on that. Now brings down TMW. No, they're going to have to fall back from here with a relocate. And the question is, do they really want to fight this out? Trixie playing games behind, dropping off some tracks. And yeah, I think they're both going to come back on into this one.
And Bane's here too. I mean, they're coming back full health, full mana. Trixie's baiting them pretty hard. And in fact, they're actually going to have to back off. And wow, the range,
the movement speed.
From such a distance there.
Jeez, I think they get a friggin' note. They get a wisp. At 9 and almost 10 minutes in, you don't want to be spending a lasso underneath your tier 2 just to kill a wisp. But
I would say he would have lived. Had he popped the magic wand, he could have lived. Like, got up on the hill and then just shot down with a tether.
Close.
But he didn't get off. He didn't quite jam. He didn't quite slam the magic wand in time. 8 charges on it. It's a fair amount of health for him.
Either way, in this position, they are just happy that that's the biggest problem they have is their wisp being locked down. They have so much going for them right now. Tracks all over the place. 13-3. It's just everything is going up for them, and even the Batrider is very, very far away from his Blink Dagger, still about like 700 gold, or wow, my math is terrible, 500 gold. But meanwhile, Hani already has his BOTs, so core item, comparatively speaking, we're just seeing Hani have so much more potential, and he hasn't even been involved in the kills. Like, I think he got 1 kill, 2 kills actually, but they weren't tracked. And so, as a whole, he's not been benefiting from what the rest of the team has been acquiring. BOTing into mid lane, they're going to go for this here. Trixie does invis on out. Hani shift Qs those rockets and sends some damage the other direction. No-Tail tethering on up, looking for a rift, trying to pull NS on into it, but they don't get the vision.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a pretty big nerf to the CK Chaos Knight, because the CK was one of the big things, of course, was the orbs give vision, so it made it really easy to get the tether in there. Whereas now they need to explode, and then Rift's got fairly long cast time, so we see it getting cancelled all the time. So the orb exploding doesn't really give enough. I should mention, though, we're probably going to see Fnatic get fairly aggressive in the mid in a second, like even more aggressive, because this tower's getting very close to deny range. So they're going to want to prevent that. They're going to want to take it cleanly, if possible. If anything's Virtus.Pro's saving grace is they've managed to knock down a tower first, so it's giving them some much need to go. And by much need, I mean, like, you're looking at OD, he's 179 GPM. That's that bad. And you're looking at 217 for KSI. It is really, really hurting them. Even Batrider and their 2 highest farmers, Batrider and Enigma, still out on top of the board. They're 330 and 311, respectively. In fact, they're falling behind Era, even with a tower advantage. And Era has not been farming that hard.
Yeah. I'm actually going to go for a relocate on bottom. They can't get KSI because of the Rage, but they pull right on in TMW. Going to go for a 4-second stun, but because of retaliatory TP from Enigma and the fact that they couldn't kill the Batrider before the lasso came out, they're just going to walk away and committed some mana, some cooldowns, but no, not too much lost as a result.
I'm surprised they didn't just bum rush mid then, because they saw like 3-4 TPs and knew, okay, the entire team is teleported. They don't have the ability to stop the push on mid now. They could have actually taken that out, but instead they're just going to go for some kills, which I think is the wrong choice, because there's a lot of them there and they have Black Hole up. Meanwhile, Trixie's actually charging mid. They pick off OD. The distraction was there. That was their master plan. And now we're going to have the... Looks like they might be able to pick this up. No, the deny's probably going to happen here. As it looks like they pick off Nakes with some rockets. Somehow, Nakes gets picked off. I'm really not sure how they managed to work that one out. Nakes getting picked off there. And they'll still get the tower on top of it.
Yeah, and now doing some damage to Enigma. He's dropped down to 83 HP. They have the track on him. Can't get in range for the movement speed, but there's really nothing to stop them from just rushing on top of him. They have so much movement speed with these heroes here. So yeah, pinning on in. They almost get the pull on AA, but yeah, Arzart will be able to get on out of there. Instead gets prisoned. Now losing a bit of mana. Still has plenty enough for one more stun. Question is who he's going to use it on, if anybody at all. Just going to go on the retreat for the moment, though. They did lose Trixie earlier to the Enigma, which was not what they wanted, but... Actually, Hani also getting dropped down, going a little bit too deep. Pretty much mano-a-mano against Enigma.
Honey chased him thinking, you know what, oh wow, actually Fiend's Grip on Illidan. Illidan gets picked up. Honey chased him because he had track on him. He said, you know what, all I need to do is wait for rockets to cool down, and then I'll just spam him with that and he'll die one hit. But the problem was he spawned some Eidolons, which then got the counter kill.
Sure. Okay, so he still got the kill on Enigma with the rockets. Yeah. It's just the Eidolons were able to right-click him down. So, yeah, yes. Kind of a 1-for-1. And, of course, Tinker getting the kill first. He got the experience and Enigma didn't. So, Tinker's still kind of happy about the situation. And along with that, he's moving in towards his either Dagon or Force Staff. Actually, hard to tell considering how stompy this game has been thus far. I wouldn't blame him for either selection. But just in this position here, I mean, when you have this much mobility through track, through tether, and the CK's natural amazing base movement speed, you can close the distance on literally anybody. The Batrider might be able to evade with Blink Dagger, but beyond that, you can go anywhere you want, anytime you want, and that's really, really hurting Virtus.Pro. They're going to go in, they have the Black Hole up and available, want to win a fight just to get the mechanism, and they're going to go onto Hani here, gets the Eidolons, gets the Malphite, but whiffs the Black Hole, gets Tether stunned out with the relocate, and they're going to get dropped down hardcore. A pause comes out once again in the midst of the fray from No Tail, as Hani now has connection issues. First Trixie, now Hani. Very, very unfortunate, but just kind of breaking this down in the interim. Oh my gosh, that Black Hole. First of all, not hitting anything. Second of all, being canceled by the relocate. I think what NS was trying to do was black hole the incoming CKIO and try to keep them disabled with the last 2.5 seconds of the black hole. But the tether was active and stunned him out before it took effect whatsoever.
I honestly don't think he was going for CKR because it would have made more sense if he was trying to shut them down before they did anything. They could just preemptively silence.
Yeah.
There was always that. Whereas, you know, I'm pretty sure he was trying to hit Tinker there with that, but managed to miss it.
Whatever way you look at it, it's very unfortunate for them. And now this team fight breaking down very, very quickly. Trixie is TPing down. He's actually only 0.6 seconds away from this position here, right in front of the Tier 1. He's going to get at least one track out, if not two. OD's already dropped the hammer. NS is an ulti. All they got is this lasso on Era. And I'm not even sure if that's enough to prevent this last right-click on NS. No, he dies, but Era will be pulled on to the north. Illidan dropping down very, very quickly. Does get right-click down, along with the silencer. They just clean this up very, very nicely. And No Tail flies on away with his little relocate rubber banding effect. Team W is still being chased on down, though. I don't think they can close the distance on him, but, you know, when he's just being pursued by such a quick hero as the Chaos Knight, there's really nowhere to run.
Yeah, I mean, between track, they didn't quite get it on him. Between the tether move speed is huge as well. And Chaos Knight actually going to pop the Reality Rift here. Phantasm. Where am I going with that? Phantasm to help push. They should be able to clean this up pretty quickly. In fact, he's gone for the early drums. Got another 1,700 gold in the bank. We'll see what he decides to pick up next. But just looking at Tinker, we'll see what he goes for here. I mean, get the feeling he almost has enough. If he wanted to get a 4-star, he almost has enough to pick it up now. That said, I mean, you were talking about a Dagon. If it were a Dagon, I almost want to see the blink first, just for the mobility. Because, I mean, the big part of the big part of the Dagon thing is you need the blink and you need the Ethereal Blade. You just basically jump in, shotgun someone, jump out, jump in, shotgun someone, jump out. It's kind of retarded, but it does work. But that's it. I don't know if they've got the time to farm up, because that's like a really late game option for Tinker. I don't know if they've got the time for that, because obviously you don't want to let Tinker go that OD go that late. That was a really nice reality rift there. Lucky that it pushed him up on top though. I don't know if you really expected that to happen, but you know what? They get the kill regardless.
So yeah, if he can just keep on doing that though. I'm actually surprised he didn't follow up immediately with a Reality Rift onto the OD as soon as he came out of the prison, because they did have track up on him. Probably could have gotten a kill there. Actually going for a relocate up here onto NS. Has a mechanism, but I don't think it's going to be enough to keep him up here. Just so much damage coming on in. Shredded in a moment. And yeah, this is just not looking good at all. What? I'm not even sure about that part. But Yeah, just farm down the creep wave really quickly, and they're going to jump on out of there. Actually, a bad spot for Trixie. Gets prisoned up underneath the Firefly. There is a nice Nightmare, but Trixie going to have to head for the hills while Fly plays a card of the Sacrificial Lamb. Is going to get dropped down here.
I really feel like Silencer probably should have taken that Nightmare off for him, just so he could basically lasso. So he could lasso Lifestealer away. That should have actually been traded off, but anyway. Regardless, we're going to have Chaos Knight dive once again. They're looking for Illidan. Illidan now getting Reality Rift to Tether Stun. 4 seconds on that Chaos Bolt, and down he goes. And there is nothing KSI can do to No-Tail. No-Tail just sort of walks away from him. Laser comes in as well. Some more Spirits. Track up on top of that. Does he have a Rage? Still 5 seconds away. Rockets to finish. There we go. He's dead.
Nice mech attempt, but they're just so far behind. And No-Tail's walking in as a Wisp with 200 HP underneath tier 3s. Gonna drop down to 60 HP in the enemy's base. Actually does pay for it, basic, but still having some fun with it. And now they're just going to walk away. They're BOTing out of the enemy's base. And Prison will come out. So I think that we'll get a kill on one hero here. But at what cost?
They can't catch him. He's too damn fast. With drums and his natural speed, I don't think they can get him. Because Batrider still does not have a blink.
No freaking blink. I mean,
actually, no. They get enough stuns. They're getting enough on him. They might actually be able to run him down now. There we go. They will actually get him in the end. Oh, actually, no, because they're taking a lot of damage. As Silence comes in, though, that may be what they need. And finally, Error goes down. They get him at last. That's it, though. Another track kill comes in. And I've got to say, this is 17 minutes in, and Fnatic are diving tier 4s at this game.
I mean, this
is how confident they are. That said, I hope they don't throw, because there's always that possibility. I mean, if you wait too long...
You can always say that in a game, but that possibility is essentially non-existent in my mind. Like, they could micro one hero and still probably just destroy. I'm exaggerating, but like right now, Honey just got an ultra kill just by walking around and hitting missiles, Dagons, lasers, just everywhere, and it actually looks like it's going to be a good game. Very, very rough start for Virtus.Pro in this best of 3.
Wow. Wow. You see an OD pick, you think, holy crap, we're in for one slugfest of a match, but no, it's an 18 and a half minute GG, and already 42 kills in the game, 34 of them belonging to Fnatic. Let's just put that in perspective. 34 kills in 18 and a half minutes. Someone do the math on that. It's like almost 2 kills a minute.
Getting up there, yeah.
Absolutely insane.
That is, yeah. They just completely dominated this map here. This was such a good game plan by Fnatic. And it all started off, like, the first blood on OD is, like, the epitome of this match. It's like, he went in, he wasn't in the exact right position he should be, and because of good vision and good understanding, Era and everybody in general was just able to take down their opponents. Like, that every step of the way. The CK, the IO, really, really powerful. And people talk about IO being like useless in the lane, not contributing at all to what the early game is. But we just see that right here that that's not true at all. If you can get in tether range, that's a nice little extra stun. And of course, he does provide a lot of right-click damage if he's not being focused.
The big deal is it's Chaos Knight. Like, IO is generally useless, but the thing is, Chaos Knight just synergizes so well with him. The Reality Rift almost, like, just guarantees a tether stun, and he stacks it with his own stun. So, in a 2v1, it's just, you've got to have a blink to get away, almost.
Yeah, and they couldn't even get that. Like, I thought at least a bat would find his blink dagger, but 2105 just doesn't work out for TMW.
Hon Trash, Best Trash, TI3, here we come.
Indeed. Well, that's just the first of this best of 3 series, so Virtus.Pro are going to have to shake it off and try to come on in with a different strategy. They're going to have first pick this next time around, so we'll see if that makes any difference. But for right now, Virtus.Pro drafting up, in my opinion, a pretty good lineup. A couple weaknesses are, of course, their laning disabled. Malefice early ranks are not that great at all, and then beyond that, they didn't have any hard stuns, plain and simple. So that was definitely a weakness. Like you said, they couldn't have rotated supports if they wanted to, and I definitely think that's something they could shape up on in their lineups. But yeah, beyond that, they just didn't expect what Fnatic were going to bring, and they're really, even if they dominated the bot in the mid, the bot in the top lane, the mid was getting trashed on so hard that it really wouldn't matter the result. But on top of that, Tinker obviously had a decent time on bottom, and from there, they just took the game away. So, nicely done. Fnatic taking game 1 of the best of 3 series. We'll be seeing game 2 in just a few minutes, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Daedalus Cup. We're going to be seeing this next game in just a few minutes. Any other thoughts before we move on into the next one, Triumph?
Nah, let's move on to the next one.
Game 2 coming up, guys.